Oh gosh. I talk about this in the book, and this is truly my own articulation. I think that there is a very real thing called creative resistance, and it's rooted in fear. It's rooted in comparison or not wanting to be known or feeling like you're not good enough or you're a poser or whatever. Um, or even pride and competitiveness. But that's creative resistance. I think there's a whole nother part that's a creative block. And those are things like we've overcommitted ourselves. We aren't dealing with things that are shutting down our capacity to create. Like, I don't know, we know we have bills due and we're not doing work that would bring in the money that we could pay for those bills with or whatever, just really practical things that are creative blocks that should we turn our attention to them, we could resolve so that we can get about the creating that we're here to do. I think fear plays a very big part in both of those. But again, I distinguish between resistance and block. We can overcome the roadblocks.
How do we go about overcoming those roadblocks?
Just practical attention to them, just carving out the time, carving out the resources, getting community around those if we need community. Like if I don't know why this came to me, but if the place where I do my creating has become a place that I am hoarding so much stuff I can't work, maybe I'll need a little practical support from someone. I don't know, terrible example, but they're just practical things you can do. Don't say yes to one more coffee until you get done what you need to get done creatively.
What role does gratitude play in this whole process?
Gosh, gratitude is pretty foundational. So aside from stilling yourself, gratitude is super ground floor to understanding that you're not alone and that someone, specifically God, and frequently other people in your life are giving you a gift of whatever it is that you're thankful for. I heard Marcus Warner recently distinguishing between gratitude and appreciation. As appreciation, you actually let it kind of soak into your body. You feel it. He didn't say soak your body, but you actually feel things that you're grateful for. You stop and you make yourself space to really receive whatever it is, a blessing, a gift, a meal, the beauty, whatever it is. This is tangent, but I'm going to just say this because I love this quote. Brene Brown says, knowledge is just a rumor until it works into the bone. And that's probably a slaughtered quote, but it's an Aboriginal proverb that she has in her book. I think it's in Daring Greatly, but it's the same with our faith. You know, knowledge is just a rumor until it really gets
down into the core of who you are.
Yeah.
Why do you think, and this is more of a modern question, this isn't in the book, I just want your personal opinion on this. Oftentimes on the show, we've talked about some of these modern iterations of things where we're talking about just life in the modern world, where we're talking about gratitude and joy and still and quiet, and not that the ancient world didn't have these practices, but it seems now we have much more of a preoccupation with understanding the interior parts of who we are. Some do, some don't, right? I mean, there's the one part where you have no interaction whatsoever and you just go through life and you don't think about it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that our grandparents were sitting around going, man, my parents were way off. They led me through trauma. They just didn't think that way. They didn't have the vocabulary that we have today, nor did they have the research and the ability. I mean, we've come a long way since then.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, some people, though, still have a very hard time letting this inform their faith, because they have a very hard time of seeing out anything that's not, for lack of a better term, chapter and verse, where it's not explicitly dealt with in the text itself. How do we deal or help people to see the need to talk about these things, even though previous generations may not have?
I don't have a hard time with that. And I understand that people do, there is pushback to this stuff. But when I look at the ways of Jesus, he was very present. He was very present to himself, and he was very present to other people. He was very present to his emotions. Dallas has been quoted frequently as, and I heard him say this, somebody asked him what is one word he would use to describe Jesus. And he said, he thought for a second, and he said, relaxed. I don't think I would have pulled that word out. Like, that just wouldn't have been the first thing on my mind. But to really, truly feel relaxed, to feel at ease, at home in our bodies and our souls, is to be like Jesus. To have a sense of why we are here. Our creative commission, our creative great commission. I mean, that's who Jesus was and how he lived. And that's historically true. You look at culture, well, our grandparents lived in towns where they were very known, most of them. This whole splintering of families and moving across the country and careers that drive the bus. You don't